much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.
Welcome back to LOOT.BET CS. Welcome to our second series of the day between Gambit Youngsters and Espada. A hell of a matchup, actually, that has quite a bit of history between these two Russian squads, my man. Dweg, how are you feeling about this series?
Mate, I'm really looking forward to what really is a derby between these two sides. Obviously, Gambit Youngsters being the youngsters. I mean, all players on that lineup being 19 years or younger, which is great to see. You know, there's not too many lineups out there with some really young talents on it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I couldn't even think you were talking about the ageism before we actually went live of this team. Is the fact that they were like 18 and 19 and such. So like, you know, so many youngsters, like literal youngsters on that side. So you know, there's a lot of potential. I feel like in terms of their growth elements and their growth opportunities, because like these guys could go on to have some really bright careers, especially in the CIS scene where there's so much talent around.
Especially Shiro, man. Like, Shiro is insane. Like, he has literally been talked about for so long now about how much this kid can do. Being the AWPer, being everything. Like, he's the main AWPer for the side, but he can do it with the rifle, he can do it with the pistol, he can do it with the AWP. Literally any weapon in his hands, he performs at such a high level. Not even against tier 2 teams. I'm talking about against teams like Na'Vi, you know, Forza, teams like Road to Rio, like big name teams. And yeah, look, I'm really keen to see Shiro's potential career just like explode.
And for the Gambit Youngsters, obviously he'll be one of the better elements against this Espada squad, who they've had a lot of history against them. I think I was mentioning just a moment ago. These two teams have faced off against each other in 3 separate best-of-3 series over the course of 2020. All 3 of them have gone the way of Gambit Youngsters. All in all, Espada have snuck away a couple of good maps. Most notably Mirage and Overpass, which is a good sign for them at the very least. But Mirage has also been won twice by the Gambit Youngsters squad as well. And with how close Overpass was last one as well for the Espada side, you must imagine the Gambit Youngsters may be on for a 2-0. We'll find out whether that'll be the reality as the pistol round kicks off. And the first kill comes in for it as Axel and Nafany also get themselves 2 picks of their own. Sophic and Dexter are the last 2 players left. A couple of good picks go back for the Espada side, but now Dexter, the last man standing back in the 1 versus 3. The bomb plant open in the bomb site. Eventually it's Supra there with the final frag.
And really what that round comes down to is the fact that Gambit Youngsters have set themselves up for a pretty nice B setup. And look, they just completely clutch out that round so easily, holding down the defensive there. That's a little bit of a wrong graphic. Hopefully we'll be able to get the new one for you.
I was going to say, I was like, I mean, I know the logo is similar. I know the logo is similar, but Hellraisers does not look like Gambit Youngsters to me, you know?
The Red Boys.
The Red Boys. Red the blood of angry men.
Yes.
Gambit Youngsters won't be too angry at the moment. They're having a fantastic game already. You know, a pretty confident pistol round, I want to say, coming out of the CT side.
And I suppose Espada has certainly grown in terms of their potential in their lineup. Obviously picking up Dima, Sophic, and Pasty recently. And when I mean recently, I mean, well, not completely recent, towards the back end of last year. But we've certainly seen some big results going their way. But all in all, against the Gambit Youngsters, this is going to be a difficult affair. Like Jay said, they have faced each other off in best of 3s 3 times in the past. And Espada still yet to get a victory. The first map pick of Mirage is the way of Espada. And I tell you what, this is like one of the slowest rounds we have seen today. Like, there is no contact being made pretty much at all. And we've already seen about a minute of play.
Yeah, Gambit going passive, Espada going passive. Finally, they hunt for some short control. They got nothing there with the SMG, hoping to cut them off as they round that corner, but they won't even get that far before the smoke goes up. The nade might do some damage. No, does not quite do so. Going towards lower instead of the short position. Now the smoke comes down in the last 30 seconds. Espada are going to go for the execution now. Count the smokes back. Good 2 picks from the pistol. Sophic and Patsy. That enters an Axel. A 5-on-3 situation. The bomb plant can be secured.
I think it's already a save. Look at the players on the A. They're not even going for this. Wow, that is such a round from Espada. So they take mid control, and it's so passive and so slow that Gambit youngsters, they force 2 players up to the B bomb site to defend, but they have not really any information of what's going on. And Espada, well, they establish the apps presence, they establish the short presence, the execution comes through, and Sophic and Patsy just open up the bomb site, and that is one of the fastest saves I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, that was just brilliant. It was just so well played. So well played there from the Espada side. Just to get those headshots in around the entries. I mean, when you're taking picks confident like that, you've got a lot of opportunities that can go your way. And certainly for Espada, a brilliant way to respond to what was a confident pistol from the Gambit youngsters. And as you say, the fastest save pretty much ever for any CT force. Such passiveness as well, you know? Like, so little information being given away to the youngsters. I feel like they kind of got inside their own heads.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd like to see some map control being taken from the CTs. That was just too passive from Gambit youngsters. Allowed too much map control to come through. Now, the force buy does come through, but it's, well, in comparison to what there's out for the T side, it's not the greatest of buys. Digster's going to start things off, so the opening advantage going the way of Espada, and this time around, contact's been made relatively quickly. I'm just going out for their default. A lot of mid establishment from Espada. Look how many players are out through mid at the moment. 4 players.
The T's at the moment do establish themselves that connector control. Look on from the ramp entrance for the Espada side. M4 peeks in first, and Super gets shut down. SMG for Nafany for a secondary pick. Nope, Sophic takes him down all the same, and they scout and the Deagle. Now just the scout left alone, and Espada bursting in with their T-side entries and making it light work of the defensive, it feels like. It was a bit of a force buy there, so I can't blame it too much, but even then, with M4s out to play, not even Gambit youngsters could get even a kill.
And the scary thing yet is we haven't even seen Deegster on the AWP now. I've only seen a couple of games from Espada in recent times, but he's a really sharp AWPer, so I'm really keen to see what he's able to deliver on the T side of Mirage. Not going to bring out the AWP just yet, but it's going to be a pretty harsh eco coming out from Gambit youngsters. No investment whatsoever, so for the USPs, just hoping to see if they can do some damage, find a kill or two. And one thing to talk about as well, Jay, is that the duo of Dimmer and Sophic, they've come back together. They've played nearly 1,000 maps together, dating back to mid-2015. Their last stint together before this was on Spirit, I believe. And now they've rejoined forces after not playing with each other for an entire year. So it's good to see that the duo's back together.
Start try doing some decent work for his side. 2-1 start so far for the Espada squad, so make of that as you will. SMGs, not SMGs, excuse me, pistols rather. USPs is what I'm trying to say there for the Gambit youngsters side. And they're going to stack in the apartments, find a kill onwards Sophic, and these players are going to get a rifle out of this one. Patsy's going to be left a little bit isolated here. He's going to get 1 kill as Finnegan finds Shiro. Still a 2-on-2. That's a lot of damage done with no investment here. That will limit the economy state. Now, how much more are they going to go for? They're going to go for the save off the back of this. I mean, the rotations come in towards the A bomb site. The plant's going to be secured pretty easily. The Finnegan's pretty low, and Dexter could fall to a decent AK headshot. Do Gambit youngsters try their chances?
Probably best bet is for them not to go for it. I mean, holding on to an M4 and an AK is wonders in terms of the economy. I mean, look, they would have been able to get a full buy-in in the next anyway, but the fact that they don't have to buy up for 2 players is wonders, and doesn't happen too often on a round like that. But for Espada, I mean, look, that was a good call. They saw a lot of presence that came out from the apartments. We saw 3 kills going the way of the Gambit youngsters side, and straight away they bring the bomb straight out of B, and they bring it straight over to the A bomb site. They realize, look, we're not even interested in going to the B bomb site. Let's just go over to A. And Deegster and Finnegan going to be able to hold on to a couple of weapons. Now Sparta, if they win out this gun round, they've got a really good chance of just completely resetting the economy from Gambit youngsters. look at those past matches as well. A lot of wins going the way of the Espada lineup.
Respectable results, of course, for this squad. Respectable start, of course, for them. Gambit youngsters still, in our opinion, however, at the advantage. It all comes down to how they can play these rifles, if they can find a way to work with them here. So first shot out from the AWP. Gives away some information, doesn't get any kills, and the dig down from Nafany is not enough to open up a frag. Dima will take him back to 1 HP, though. He's left in a very awkward position. A trade does come in eventually, and Inters will follow suit with the man advantage for the youngsters' side.
And look, I really like that change-up coming out from the youngsters. We've seen a lot of passiveness coming out from them. And as soon as we get into the gun round, it's aggression. It comes out from both the underpass and the apartment's position. And they're able to secure themselves a 4-on-3. Now, unfortunately, in this setup, there is only a single player at B of Inter. So he's just jump spotting at the moment. So as soon as he gets contact, he'll be able to use a little bit of utility to try and slow the T's down. And the rotate should come in relatively quickly.
Spray through, Inters drops the bomb. A quick frag from Sopvik can find the trade, but Shiro creeping in the back lines, and Sopvik's going to have to find Super. Super should know this player goes aggressive. Is he going to get any sort of flash persist here from Axel? No, just dry peeking and getting taken down. It's all Dexter now. 1 versus 3. He plants out on the default position, the AWP. 3 good shots to find, did not see Shiro. Turn away at the wrong moment. Does scope in, land a tag, not quite a kill. Too many players to worry about here on this one, so the AK Supra will be able to secure the 3rd frag for him, and 2nd round on the board for the Gambit youngsters.
And Supra, the only non-Russian on the server, the Estonian, stepping up in that gun round. Having a really nice hold. 3 kills in the end there. And Inter's being able to drop that bomb obviously made it a little bit more difficult for Espada to even try and get that bomb planted, making sure they had to clear out the site. And it was all down to Dexter. 1 versus 3 to come out, but he does not clutch it in the end. So Gambit youngsters, I mean, that was a very convincing gun round, Joe.
Yeah, very simple picks and picks coming in from the AWPs and the M4s. And the trades eventually going their way. I mean, even though it felt like it was an even standing for the most part here, it's Shiro to open things up once again. Look how far pushed up Nafany is. Edge of the smoke at the top mid position. He's got 1 player to deal with. The AWP is Sopvik. He's burning, naded out. Spray comes through, and with damage being done, Nafany get a simple opening, or sorry, follow-up kill, I should say. 5-on-3 situation already to the favor of the CT side, and Shiro is looking for a little bit more. He's not ready for Demon to pop out of the lower tunnels.
Axel into the window room, or ladder room, I should say. Demon's going to find 2. And I'll tell you what, that actually brings this disadvantage back into an even playing field. Now, there is a player lurking around that palace position. That's Finnegan. What does Supra find? Can he find an angle with that?
Doesn't. He opts to back off instead. He walks right into the hands of Patsy, the nade up. He does get Finnegan down and evade death by HE. Nafany's there to try and support it. They're going to split their way in from Connector and Ramp. A big backstab coming in from Indus as well. So Supra's backed up here, but Nafany goes down. Edge of the smoke. The AWP is going to look in, and Patsy does take down the low HP player. It's all left to Inters. Bomb plant will be secured. I believe that is closed for default. Actually, no, it's open for Sandwich. So Inters peek in. Did you see Dima? Not quite catching the pixel in the back. We'll check out Jungle. See the AWP. Needs to find the info on the 2nd man, but he turns around at the wrong moment. And Inter's now going to smoke the bomb. The nade out Connector. Is he going to stick the 5 seconds? He taps it once, trying to force her face in. He now knows that Jungle is the play. Does not see Patsy, though, at the very edge of it. He's now going to stick the full 5 seconds. He has no choice. Flashback to blind off. Inter's 25 HP. And Patsy will still get the spray through the smoke, through the flashbang, and get a 4th for Espada.
And Patsy's a player that we haven't even spoken about yet. 16 years old, his first professional team ever. And, I mean, that was a big round from him. We saw some really sharp kills going around that connector position. And in the end, clutching it for his team. Espada being able to pick up their 4th round and not completely resetting the economy, but it does mean we won't see another rifle round to come out just yet.
That's going to reset the Gambit youngsters buy up here. The economy not so much. I mean, they've still got a little bit in the reserves. With lost bonus building, you must imagine the buy must come in the next round, which is the reason why they're going so careful with these buy-ups here. You usually see force buys from these Russian squads and the CIS squads in general, but it's not going to be the case here for the youngsters' side. The USPs, the P2K, that P250 actually from Nafany? I think it may be P250. Either way, it's a small amount of investment here from the CT side. Should be seeing Espada taking a 5th, which is a good start here on the T side.
Yeah, so far things are looking pretty dominant from Espada. Haven't really seen anything too quick from them either. It's all off the back of defaults for the most part. Looks like they're setting themselves up for a set piece to this A bomb site, and setting, you know, set pieces are often used quite a lot once you're up against these eco rounds, because it makes it very easy to at least try and siphon the CTs off from one another, because a lot of the time you'll get either the USPs trying to fight on the site, or they'll just fall back and try and retake. So all in all, complete site control coming out from Espada. Still have a fair bit of utility to work with in the post plant as well. Can't really expect too much from the Gambit youngsters side.
Yeah, they're all going to save, I think. I mean, it doesn't make sense to save. They haven't invested anything, but all held out, slowly creeping their way around towards T-spawn. They've wasted half the bomb's time already. And Demon will just take contact. They could isolate that one pick against them. Spray through the AK, tap burst. Does tap towards a player. Does get taken out by Super, but there's another T-side player already up to position here against him. Finnegan and Patsy moving in. Patsy actually gets 3 kills all in all, so nice quick frags. AWP stays in. Espada with a 5th.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.
What a start coming out from Espada. 5-2. The AWP back into the hands of Shiro, and I haven't really seen too much from him yet. I've seen a couple of nice shots, but all in all, haven't really seen him come alive in the early stages of this map. Back to basics. Espada taking the mid control relatively slowly. Now, one thing that I remember in that first gun round, Jay, is how much aggression we saw from the CTs. Now, it's very passive for the youngsters.
I mean, in general, it's been a pretty passive CT side all in all, you know. Like, you know, we always saw that earlier round where they had to face Spada's passiveness of their own right. They didn't push forward. There's only one real aggressive play, and that was coming out towards that mid position. Other than that, it's just been basic contacts and, you know, very hidden away defaults coming in from the youngster squad. Flash in, Sophic getting Axel out as he gets on top of the ladder and throws his accuracy all sorts of off. They didn't even aim towards the man because he backed up a little bit too much. It's a 5-on-4 start for the Espada side.
And again, great advantage to work with. But they've got a lot of options. They've somehow managed to get Pasty in towards the top of connector. And, I mean, really, they could just probably split into A is probably their best bet at the moment, considering the position that they're in. And Supra, he's going to hear some utility going out from the ramp position, especially with him being so close.
Aiden against Finnegan, not doing much damage to it. Patsy taking damage. Sophic almost catching one in the back, but in the end falls out position, and I believe they heard that. Inters. 15 seconds to the clock. Going to smoke out, try buy for time rotation coming in from 3 players. A bit of a push coming out from Super as well. Catching off one, taking him down. Gets Patsy as well. Not quite lining up the 3K, but it's so low. The USP can get a frag with Nafany bottlenecking them in all out the apartments, and they just can't escape the doorway.
I'm sorry, what are they doing? Like, why are you over-rotating with that little time left when you've got a player in window room? Like, Sophic could have either split through CT, split through jungle. They had so many options, and they just waste the map control they had to go fast through underpass into the B bomb side. Even if there was no one on B, that bomb would have just got planted in time. And there was a player out towards that ladder room area around short that heard all the information. That is a big misread from Espada. Huge question marks on that.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that either. I think that they believe that Gamma youngsters had a lot more information than they actually did. I think they knew, or I think they thought that they knew that they were there on the backstab, so they thought it wouldn't work. And to go back towards the B site after they had rotated towards A, would have been the better play, but just failed to account for that short control, failed to account for the map control that they had. Finnegan will open up for Espada once again. The Galil on towards Supra. He's on 38 HP, on Sophic at least. And Patsy will follow suit on towards Nafany next. So a 5-on-3 situation. Espada once again at a 2-man advantage.
Honestly, for Espada, I'm looking at this first half and I'm saying, don't do anything fancy, because they're finding kills so easily at the moment in the default. Mashiro does miss out that shot into the apartments, and already they've got a couple of players into the bomb site. I mean, one player up towards top connector, and even a player of Patsy literally in the bomb site already before the bomb's even been spotted. And Gambit youngsters, 3 versus 5. This is a very difficult position to be in.
Into spots one. Didn't spot the second player top of the danger box. And Axel will get one pick with the AK in the mid position, but he's got so much more to do with, and Shearer's not even going to bother facing towards the site. I think they've already given up here. Nade against Axel will basically confirm it. Shearer's looking for exits. Axel's getting out of dodge. This will be a 6 for the Espada side, and all just down to kills, you know, as you mentioned. Nothing fancy.
Yeah.
Just pushed it in, got the frags as necessary, and then they just took the bomb site.
I think that's the way they need to play. I don't want any funny business from them, because their defaults are very strong. We're seeing so much success on their defaults. They get mid-control so easily because Gambit youngsters are playing so passive. They're finding opening picks up through connector. They somehow keep getting players up into window room pretty much every round, whether it's window room or ladder room. They're taking control so easily. They're finding kills like it was just no tomorrow. So for Espada, I mean, this T side is looking really strong, and for Gambit youngsters to come back, they're going to have to try and get aggressive, because if they keep playing passive in the sites, we're going to keep seeing Espada win rounds.
Continue watching potentially another good round from the Espada side. Gambit youngsters have once again gone very passive, and this has worked pretty well for them so far. So when they start peaking up aggressive, you know, the first pick in that last round went the way of the Espada side because one of the players of Gambit youngsters got aggressive in the over at ramp. So minute and 25 to the clock, and right now Espada have played that default out towards the A bomb site, looking in towards ramp, hoping to find some way out the palace position. Setting up utility for the basic execution this time. It's going to be only one player directly on site that can evade those smokes. We'll put another smoke down, try and buy himself a bit of breathing room. It's actually a first kill from Shiro, blind through the smoke, taking out Patsy, and Super still lurking at the top end of it, looking at a palace, but he pops his head up and Finnegan takes him down. 4 on 4. Him and Dima have taken quite a bit of damage. Axel will peek forward and gets up Vic. AWP as Shiro peeks forward of his own right, but couldn't get the man over on Tetris. So 3-on-2 scenario for the retake here for the Gambit youngsters side. Finnegan is still pretty low. Awkward spray against Dexter will tag him even lower, and the Espada are starting to lose some ground here.
And Finnegan's going for the long rotate out through short to at least see if he can win out this round, but the bomb's already been defused, so there's no real way that he's able to do anything with it. And for Gambit youngsters, I mean, look, that's a really good round from them. We saw Axel actually aggressing out through top mid, but it was the players on the bomb side that were hiding in some really awkward positions that were able to do so much.
Yeah, and that's really the main thing. Again, the passiveness more than anything else from the Gambit youngsters. I think they realize that they can get out-fragged by this Espada side. They're more experienced and more better mechanically equipped Espada side. Been proof of the pudding of the frag count so far. Still 6-4 up against the youngsters. The AWP going to scope in and take out the first player. This is an eco from the Espada squad, though. Just that AK save by Finnegan, and that's all they really have to work with. The Glock's coming forward, and the AKs will shut him down. Finnegan will take a challenge against Super that he will lose. Nade on towards both of the remaining T side. Oh, Sophic in particular taking a significant amount of damage. Does spray through and does take Super down. Cindy in his position, though. He's not going to be allowed the bomb plant. And the rest of the round should come crumbling down for Espada here.
Dima just trying to see if he could pull some sort of attention away. Bomb plant trying to go down. Wow, I'm actually astounded that they get a bomb plant there. I thought the CT player Vinters was going to swing a lot quicker than he did. But all in all, I mean, it's not a bad round from Espada. I'm not really sure why Sophic's trying to save here, but why not? You know, hold on to that Glock.
Truly an expensive weapon, economy saver for Espada there. But in all seriousness, the economy will be bolstered because of that bomb plant there. We already saw players about $4,000-ish. So the rebuy will feature the full set of AKs, full utility, and head Kevlar for everyone on the T side. Could have gone for the AWP if they wanted to. I don't think they will at the moment. We've seen very few T side orbs so far today, Dwag. So I don't think that'll become a trend here in this second series.
Well, Shiro, I'm still waiting for him to really start to pop off with this AWP, but Gambit youngsters, they're at least trying to keep this scoreline close between the two sides. That's a good opening to Fani as well. A good trade to be able to follow up on the second kill, and that's a good opening coming out from the youngsters, finally being able to find some early success.
Sophic and Finnegan down early on, damage done to Supra. Further taps onto the ticket booth for CT position as he jump faces and hopes for something out here. Dexter going to catch one in the back, actually. Nafany not ready for this. It's going to be a trade back at the very least for the T side. 4-on-3, but making it 2 as Axel able to respond all the same towards Patsy. Super going to push forward at the edge of the ticket booth, a spray through. Winters and Axel will close out the last couple of frags there. Do we get 6-6 on the board and a good wraparound there from the A-bomb side.
That's a really strong hold coming out from the youngsters, and I definitely think that they've been working on, at least in these gun rounds, considering they've been shut down so many times on the defaults, and trying to adapt and see if they can find some sort of different angle to work with. And when I mean different angle, I don't mean literally, but, you know, being able to change up the position, that time around having the AWP out through window room and then the swing out from the short player. A good adaptation to come out for the youngsters as they tie us up at 6 apiece now.
Well, the eco going to come through from the Espada side, so Gambit youngsters most likely will be able to turn this into a lead here. They got Deagles out, P250s, Tech 9s, Glocks, a little bit of utility, of course. Nothing major, nothing significant for them at the moment. The jump face coming in from Inters. I'll see a nade go down, try and do some damage and spray against the first player. Not quite connected to the second. He's got Axel there to back him up the other side of the site, though. So two kills for him, 1 for Axel. One's another good kill on towards Patsy as well. As Shiro gets an ult pick, he gets involved in that round. It will be 7 on the board for Gambit youngsters now. And a rebuy has got to come through from the Espada side.
You know what? I've got a gut feeling that we might see something a little bit quick coming out from Espada, because we've seen, what, 13 rounds of a lot of defaults. We haven't quite seen anything fast coming out from Espada. Could be the change-up that they need. Let's have a look at what they decide to go for. A bit of early utility out towards the mid-control. Axel and actually a teammate dropping into the underpass position.
And that's going to make it work for them here. Nafany with that opening kill on Patsy. Espada dropping there first. Flashes and incendiaries go down. Shiro will keep his eyes on Cross with the AWP. Got one player on the short position to be worried about here for the CT side, but for the most part, Espada have the A commitment to be worried about. Shiro is smoked off, so we can't connect that AWP frag just yet. Finnegan boosted up top of the sandwich position, looking for a player at ticket booth. I believe he may have been spotted, or he's seen the CT at the very least and will spray through. They're going to back up here a little bit, try and set them on the idea of a rotation perhaps. I don't know what the game plan is. The bomb is out towards ramp, and it looks like it will commit further forward to this. So Espada biting for site control at this moment. They've got 3 CTs to face in at CT spawn. Nade stack evades every T-side player, and a good flashbang to respond there from the CT forces. A lineup spray goes awkwardly for Supra, and Shiro goes down as well. The sequence works for Espada, and they tie us up again.
Oh, I can't believe they just lose that 5-on-4 advantage so quickly. And the fact is, I mean, they just try and push in all together through CT, but it's the flashbang from Espada that just ruins their plans completely. And one thing that I was a bit surprised about from the youngsters, they didn't over-rotate to the A bomb site. They left 2 players at B. And I suppose that one round where we saw the A presence and then the fast underpass at B kind of just kept them in mind. I actually say that. I mean, look, they don't win the round, but they end up taking a lot of players down from Espada.
Yeah, 4 players falling. Of course, Gambit youngsters have quite a bit of cash. They can afford to take the hit temporarily. They will have to, you know, win a round to follow suit and keep the economy alive. But even so, they can buy up here The Inters and Patsy in their comparison at this moment in time. A couple more frags on the entries for Inters, though. I don't really feel like this opponent is a big entry frag of his own right, so right now for the Gambit youngsters. I mean, they have found the majority of the entries so far on their CT starts in this one. Very fast execution cell coming in from Espada, but they've got that mid control here, and Dima will start things off against Axel.
That's a really interesting play. So they actually fake that they're going for a full A-site commitment, and then it's the mid control. They're going to go back to a double pump to A setup. This is very unorthodox, but quite an interesting strat that we're seeing from Espada.
The aggression coming in towards the A and mid positions, however, will force them forward. The CTs will have an angle to work with, so they decide to rotate back to the apartments area. Nade's going to land a bit short of this one. A smoke down from Supra. That's the M4 for this defensive. Another one playing contact, and the secondary smokes come down. This has to be an A commitment now. This one going out towards Connector. Nafany's still got a gap to work with to cover this off, and damage being done. The bomb planter is dropped by the M4 out here. Finnegan, and another line up. Patsy also going forward into Nafany. 3 kills to his name. Big mispositions there from Espada, leaving it all on one to clutch. It's not going to happen. 8 on the board for the Gambit youngsters, closing out the half here at the advantage.
Oh, I tell you what, you'd be pretty annoyed if you're Espada, because the fact of the matter is, Instas is literally playing around a jungle smoke and a top connector smoke, and rather than just falling back and playing behind it, he actually plays on the edge where Espada just don't see that coming at all. He has a big round in the end. I mean, just look at that group of rounds towards the end section of that first half, Jay. That's what, 6 rounds out of the last 8. Very good comeback indeed.
Going to return all the same here for the Espada side. I mean, they were on the ropes for the majority of that half, which is the main thing, obviously, to see an 8-7 half come through. The Gambit youngsters will turn to their T side. Now, obviously, this is Espada's pick, but Gambit youngsters, when they faced off against them in not the last series. Sorry, it was the last series, actually. They did have a Mirage victory above the Espada side. Now, when that came through, the majority of the rounds that the Gambit youngsters side won were actually on the CT half. So things might not be looking as confident as we go out from here. This may end up being a bit of an awkward second half, I think, for the Gambit youngsters.
It certainly could do. I mean, I remember actually watching them in the quarterfinal playoffs of Week 7 of Home Sweet Home, where they faced off against Complexity on Mirage, which was Complexity's map pick. They put 10 rounds up on the T side, which was very impressive. So, look, I still think that they're in for a good shout of being able to take this map, but it comes off the back of some early momentum, and one thing they certainly didn't have in the early stages of that first half was momentum at all. I mean, they looked like they were down in the buckets, and Espada were just all over them.
Espada may be all over them yet here. I mean, the series, this matchup is not over. Again, going into this second half, this is Gambit youngsters' technically weakest side. Find out whether or not they can turn it into a strong one in the pistol round. We have the Glocks out across the board. A couple of P250 for Shiro and Axel. Raid bosses here for the T's. A severe lack of utility. This flashbang from Nafany just to get them into the apartment's exit as they're coming forward. Pats is going to evade that blindness, and Supra will take him down. Nice entry, of course, from the T side. Inters follows suit on towards Finnegan. Looking for a bomb plant here, the Gambit youngsters. Espada, Dima and Sotfik trying to make their way in out of the market area, checking the window, checking the entrance. Dima continues to press forward, but it's a 5-on-3 situation, and there's no real face being shown by the youngster squad.
This round's pretty much all but over now for Espada. Deekster can't find anything in the apartment. Sotfik's probably just try and hold on to that kit and bring it into the next round. Maybe. He's got a smoke to work with as well. Ooh, good shot actually coming out there onto Inters. Now, what was really a shame in that round, Jay, from Espada is, oh my goodness, Sotfix. Okay, the time's a bit low, but that was some nice kills. They had the information it was a B play before they saw that it was a B play. So honestly, if Gambit youngsters would have waited another 5 or 10 seconds in the apartments, Espada would have had 3 players over at that B bomb site, because we saw the CTs pushing A main. They saw nothing. The rotates were already out to the B bomb site, but the timing could not have been any more perfect for the youngsters. Oh, the odds completely shifted now.
I'm pretty sure they were already in the favour of Gambit youngsters, actually, if I recall correctly.
Well, it was very close. I think it was like 181 to 182. But now it's like Espada is like over 2 now.
They're on the back foot, losing the pistol round, so again, makes sense. 2 kills from Nafany as well will probably seal the situation, of course. Sophic, Patsy, Dima, last 3 players left for Espada. The bomb, of course, being dropped outside of the T-spawn, outside of the apartment's entrance as it bursts through from Shiro. Trying to see if we can secure anything out there to the edge of the smoke. Nothing seen, though. Still a minute to go on the clock as the Gambit youngsters start to push forward to the B site.
Espada, I mean, really, what can they find with this round? Doesn't look like it's going to be too much, considering it's the walk into the B bomb site. A couple of players already falling down pretty early to the Glue and Nafani. And at this point, it's probably just going to be a save, right? I mean, there's 3 players over at the A bomb site. There is a lurk coming out of Supra that may be able to catch off a couple of the players saving. But all in all, this is going to be a double digits 10th round now up for the youngsters.
Indeed. Espada rotating Patsy away from that B bomb site to gamble stack the A site instead. If he had stayed there, the situation could have been a little bit different for him, but a 10th to the board of the T side, as you mentioned, double digits on the board for the Gambit youngsters squad. Get this close and competitive as we hope between these 2 sides. So Espada saving what they have, the Kevlar and of course the FAMAS and everything, are going into the eco round, means that they will have a little something to work with against the Gambit youngsters side. From there it's all about damage. Of course the economy is still just getting started, just getting booted up for the Gambit team, so all the AKs will not be out in play very early on in this one. They still have that one. Actually, they don't have any AKs, excuse me. I thought they had one on Super, my bad. Regardless, though, rifles across the board should be able to make light work of round 18.
Should be able to. But we know sometimes what these upgrades can do. And Espada probably just looking to do some damage at this point. Maybe even try and push in through A main. They've got a lot of players stacked up in that position at the moment. And Gambit youngsters taking this pretty slow and steady.
Espada stack up towards the A site, and actually Gambit youngsters are going to lean over there. Very little information being given up, nothing gained. Not even mid challenges coming through from the T's. I mean, that's appropriate enough. There are 3 players in connector, so if they went for that, they could very easily get shut down. But I mean, I said in the pre-round that actually this could be a simple round for the Gambit youngsters. They could have a bit of a stunner on their hands, because this is about to be an execution countered potentially here from the Espada side. Flashbang stalls them out of the gate. The smokes do go down. Dexter's going to aggress with the CZ, get himself a kill. He's traded back by Inders, but now he knows where the majority of the T-side forces are at. This has the information gain for the CT forces. They do lose Patsy. Finnegan also falls. Sophic not bound for this world. Dima gets 2 picks with the Deagle, but that's as far as it will go. So 3 players will fall for Gambit youngsters. They do gain the 11th. The AK upgrades will come through here. And now the buy will also come back from Espada.
Okay. And Gambit youngsters actually dealing with that the stack on the A bomb site relatively well. Now the AWP is up for Digster. We didn't really see the AWP in the hands of him on the T side too many rounds in that first half. Shiro with the AWP as well. 11-7. Gambit youngsters with a good momentum at the moment. And I tell you what, Finnegan's probably just going to walk straight to the crosshairs. Shiro doesn't hit the shot, though.
Saw the shoulder bait coming in, tried to take the challenge, but doesn't work out for him. The challenge against Espada's AWP goes much better for the Gambit youngsters, though, forcing him out of the sniper's nest. He's backed up outside a connector. We'll try and reface towards this. A short control play coming in from Dima, and he makes it work. Nafany, the first casualty of round 19.
What a jiggle peek coming out from Dima. Able to find the opening advantage now for Espada. In a pretty good position. They haven't taken any mid-control, but the presence is here through the apartments. Look at the couple of players boosting or pushing forward, I say that. And now it's only down to one. It's the AWP of Deegstar.
He's low as anything. The AWP of Shiro chimes in against Sophic as Supra goes falling. It's a 3-on-2. Shoulder bait here against Dima. He knows the AWP trade could come in pretty quick, though, so they've got to be careful about how they take this face. Axel's got the bomb on his back as well. They've basically committed to the B bomb site from here. Unless Shiro can force the issue on Finnegan and potentially just force the rotation back, Axel's got his back turned. He'll start facing away. Shiro has not found the man in sniper's nest, but they're going to rotate back from underpass anyway. This is what it looks like here. I don't know. Are they really going to save?
Well, the thing is, Ashiro's got an AWP right in front of him, so if he waits late in the round, he can drop that AK and pick up that AWP.
And looking to another buy potentially. I'm surprised the Gambit youngsters didn't go for that. I mean, I guess the money is there. Shiro's, of course, economy is going to be wrecked, and this is going to be a risky peak as well for him. He's got to grab that AWP, and the perfect timing indeed. He does grab it, so saves as much as he can here. And Espada will gain their first round on CT side.
And really, it comes down to that opening advantage from Dima, just having a bit of a solo play, a bit of an individual moment. Now let's see if we can see any kind of continuation from Espada, whether they can continue this momentum. And full buy coming up for both sides. Quite a heavy stack, at least in the early round, over a B. 3 players here from Espada. Interesting setup.
A bit of a B stack going on here. I guess they're ready for the Gambit youngsters to execute out of the gate here.
Pushing again.
Went for the apartments push a few rounds ago, so Espada certainly getting some information out of this. Patsy's got to find the kill on the first man. He gets it on Axel, somehow forcing the issue, opening things up for the CT side again.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe he pushes that far forward. I thought he was just going to wait towards the end of apartments, but he goes even further, takes out the fight against Axel. And Gambit youngsters, they were almost ready for that aggression to come out, but they didn't win out the fight. And I tell you what, it's going to be difficult to try and get into the B bomb site. First of all, there's only one player here for the city side, but look how far he's pressed up again from Pasty.
Eleven to 8 still. 30 seconds to the clock, and Patsy gets caught off guard. Incendiary back from Stopper, going to try and stop them from making their way out. The apartments will burn Supra pretty low. Nafany will fall. That drops the bomb crucially, and Supra is also quick to follow. Good pick from Shiro to return, but Stopvic completely repositions the AWP, trying to jump down. The M4 gets recovered. They see one man out of the gate here. 10 seconds. Time is of the essence. They have to commit to the B site now. Shiro dropping in. They get Stopvic for a bomb plant in the midst of the smoke, and they back up. They get Tagster, but not before he gets the bomb planter down. Shiro to stay alive. Finnegan's going to go hunting for him. Shiro is barely keeping the M4 in play, but that was a disaster round from Gambit youngsters.
Oh, I'll tell you what, the economy's not great. I mean, this is now 2 rounds that we've seen Gambit youngsters just lose off time alone. Well, maybe not lose off time, but staying alive after time, which means they're obviously going to get no money in that next round. So in terms of an economy, it's wrecked. So they're actually going to have to force buy around this M4 that's saved over from Shiro. Now, Sparta keep changing their city setup, making sure that they're being adaptable. But this just looks to be a smoke execution out to the A bomb site.
Gambit moving into the ramp position, going for an A hit. Very, very aggressive buyer from this T side. Axel gets Sophic first. Is he ready for Finnegan out the gate? The flashbang completely evaded. He turns around for 2 good picks. Got a 3rd man on site, and Supra will trade it. Drakester gets the kill back with the AWP, a 3-on-2, and there's an M4 and a Deagle back now, just a Deagle alone. A 1-on-2 situation as Drakester takes himself a 3K with that AWP. A brilliant play from Espada sniper. And now they're within 1 of the lead.
Nafny's probably asking his teammates, like, boys, who missed that jungle smoke? Because there is a smoke that is on top of, like, the building of trying to get to the jungle position, but obviously a bit of a missed lineup meant that that angle was not siphoned off, which is not a great sign to see. So hopefully they can touch up on that, because they'll certainly know that it didn't land.
All their attention drawn towards that place. That, of course, allowed the AWP to swing in from CT and just get as much impact as it did. And again, Espada bringing things back. Good kill from Finnegan to start things off. Unfortunately, he meets the rough of the Eagles up there towards that top mid position. He sees the majority of the T-side force, so he gets the info for his team. They're just keeping their eyes on the underpass area for anyone else who wants to make their way out. But they're going to go towards what seems to be another A play. No utility for it this time, so it's just going to be straight rush out. Probably from Palace Rush. Best case scenario, split 2 players in from ramp. Tries to secure a plant, get a little bit of an extra buy going into the next round. The Eagle does take out Solfix. That's another player that will end up going down at the expense of the Espada side.
Now, they actually didn't spot the bomb when the city went down quite aggressively in ramp. So, for the Espada side, they're still worried whether it could be a B take or... I mean, they just don't really have too much information at the moment. And, well, I'll tell you what, they will soon, because Dima at least look to be pushing into the ramp face. And what that means with him getting aggressive, that they're going to rotate that second player over to the B bomb side. And that seems to be a pretty good read, because that's where the T side are going.
Demon here in the ninja spot just in case they want to make their way out towards A. Axel's going to make a fair bit of noise for this one, but it'll only be 1 footstep to be heard. The Eagle pressing forward here. It won't matter too much, you know, at the end of the day. They actually are going to force the rotation back. Dima gets the kill. They're going to vacate the bomb site. They're going to get a plant down right about now. Inters has got Patsy. AWP does respond back, take a bit of damage through the bomb planter right there, but he goes down all the same. And that one player running out of ramp is going to secure the round for Gambit Youngsters. A 4K for Inters. His picks are worthy, but how on earth did they make that blunder?
What are they doing? Like, I just don't understand how with one person on a round like that, they just over-rotate. I mean, they kind of second-guess themselves. They're a bit hesitant whether they rotate or not. And that's the one thing in Counter-Strike. As soon as you're hesitant, that's when a lot of the time you're losing your life, because you're kind of caught in between and staying in the bomb site and leaving. So, honestly, for Espada, leaving that bomb site completely probably would have been better than leaving and staying at the same time. But Gambit Youngsters, I mean, hitting some really nice pistol shots. That is, wow, that is a really poor round to lose. Yeah. And, I mean, it's a shame. It's a really big shame.
I mean, I understand the rotation if you saw several players, you heard several sets of footsteps, or you saw like an entire utility rain come down on the A bomb side, but it's just one player that ran out, you know, like...
Yeah.
At that point, it should be obvious, you know. At that point, it's like you only hear one set of footsteps, you got the kill on the man, okay, there's nothing else being shown. You know, there's no reason for anyone to rotate. But the fact he called it in so early is like, it's A, guys, it's A, guys. And then that small miscall throws everything off for Espada. Gambit Youngsters will regain a 12th round, regain a 2-round lead. And the money for Espada is right. They're on eco status.
That round potentially loses them the game, or at least this map, because we're now going to go 13-10 up. We will see a buy round coming out from Espada into the next, but you kind of have to think with how many rounds there are to work with. It's not a lot now. It's actually a smart play coming out from Finnegan, trying to get aggressive out through Palace. But Gambit Youngsters, I mean, I remember we cast them, Jay, a couple of months ago on Overpass, and they were just so slow. And that is going to be the second map of the series, so I'm going to be interested to see how that pans out. But again, for both these sides, considering they're CIS teams, they run very slow defaults.
Gambit youngsters obviously know that there could be shenanigans in play from Espada if they go for a force buy. USB's up. Dexter down. Patsy does get one kill in trade, but him and Dima are also quick to fall, so only Nafany the casualty. Super also taking damage at 38 points of health. Plant should be secured here, so a 13, as you mentioned, going the way of the Gambit youngsters. This 2v4 retake will not be plausible. Might try to look for the gun on Nafany, but it's the best I can probably find here. It will be a 3-round lead for Gambit youngsters. They will be within 3 of the victory, of course. Espada continuing to, you know, sort of let that whole blunder of the last round really mull over for them. Look towards the rifles in this next one and try to see if they can try and turn it back around. This will be their last chance, though, as you mentioned. This could well be match point or map point for Gambit youngsters.
It certainly could do.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.
Do you believe in the comeback, Jay?
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility here, you know, like we're talking about a match of 2 teams who are, you know, pretty close together in terms of the way that they've fought each other so far. Espada only have 3 rounds to get back to an even standing. It's possible. I don't know if I believe in it just yet, but I'm not going to count it out.
Well, for Gambit youngsters, this is the opportunity to strike right now. A 13 to 10 up, you can completely destroy the economy from Espada to make them eco into the next. Whereas for Gambit youngsters, they lose this 24th round, and, well, they're going to get a buy into the next anyway. So it's much more important that Espada win this than Gambit youngsters. And there are a couple of players around this mid area of both Dexter and his teammate of Suffix in window room, but I tell you what, look at the damage that has already been done to a couple of the players.
A 34 on Dexter, 46 on Sophic, 92 for Nafany. 40 seconds to the clock, the Molotov's coming down, and Axel will be there in underpass. Cover off any backstab rotations. 30 seconds to the hit coming in for Gambit youngsters. They're going to take their sweet time with this, and this could allow some last-second kills to turn it around. Dexter already getting that first frag now. AWP picked up. Sophic will go falling. Dexter's got 2 angles to watch here. Demon's going to go down. The bomb gets dropped the last second. 15 seconds left on the clock. As Patsy gets a secondary kill, swinging in from short. It's all left for Shiro and Inters. They do force the pick back on one, but they've got to get to sight right now. With Shiro dropping, Inters out position, and the timer will hurt Gambit youngsters again.
And that's the thing with running slow defaults. Honestly, that's one of the biggest weaknesses with running slow defaults is if you run that clock too low and you get into a position where you drop that bomb or you get siphoned off and you can't push any further, then the round's pretty much over. And that's what happens there is Espada, they lock out the connector control. The AWP is holding through underpass or the under balcony position of Palace. And Gambit youngsters really struggle to find some of these entry kills. It's slowed down massively by the CT side. 13 to 11, a fantastic round coming out from Espada. Aggression with the AWP from Shiro, and that's a great shot to be hit, and a 5-on-4 they can work with.
Orp of Dexter looking in for a flick, getting the kill. Super trains around for Finnegan, 3-on-3 now. Gambit youngsters making their way into the bomb site. Need to go further than this. Shiro with the Orp pick. And a quick scope in against Dexter. Patsy and Dima, last 2 players standing. Nades on site will do damage to 2 minimal amounts, but Dima's popping up, getting that pick back. Patsy with a spray, awkward as anything, but he does get it to a 1 versus 1. Got one in the open, and he doubles up to save Espada once again. A 12th to the CT board as they continue to come back in against the Gambit youngsters.
Oh my, what a clutch coming out from the youngster again. Patsy, just 16 years old, being able to clutch out the 1 versus 2. And Espada, I mean, they pretty much lost that bomb site completely. We saw a couple of nice picks coming out from Shiro. And then Patsy, 1 versus 2 coming out. Down quite low to 20 points of health. But it doesn't matter. He won out the round. And it's actually a force buy from Gambit youngsters. They could have just ecoed this and brought into the next. This could be fasting to be.
Yeah, force buy out. There's a lot of utility. Might not be fast, just like a rush, but it will be an execution that comes in early, I feel. Smokes cross all 5 players. Gambit youngsters. Here they come. 2 players to defend, 2 more on the way. They'll be quick to the rotation. The Eagles up and out here, but Finnegan gets the opening kill through smoke. M4 for Dima on site, drops 1, Patsy drops another. Dima goes falling of his own right. Finnegan also down. M4 getting pressured in the AK turnaround for a frag to a 2-on-2. SMG sees the last 2 CT players going to try challenge Soptic to the back corner, and the M4 comes up good for 2. As Espada barely hold off against the force buy, but Gambit youngsters a lot committed to that round and very little coming out of it. That is not a good sign.
I don't know why they forced that. I just can't understand why they... The only thing, the inkling that I'm thinking is, well, they want to try and reset the economy of Espada. But the fact of the matter is, you know, to put out that much of a risk, considering the scoreline, to win a force buy like that is going to be really difficult. And now you're pretty much giving the lead up to Espada for an opportunity where you probably should have been able to win out this map.
Well, the frivolous, awkward plays and awkward buys have left us in a tough position. The youngsters will take the first pick. Finnegan down and out. Degster does find a trade on it. Drops the bomb as well in the palace area. Again, the pistol's able to respond. Shiro finding one towards that mid position. Degster's going to try find the frag back. The nade up against him. Should force him down low HP. The burst 2 from Patsy will not be able to find the frag.
Well, look at Nafany though. He somehow sneaked his way into the B bomb site. I don't know if he got seen. I don't think he did. He should be able to take down the short player, Patsy. This should be an easy kill for Nafany. Oh my goodness, this is a 4v2 journey.
Up, dink down to 12 HP. Super's going to bait them in. Bomb plant secure. Dima tapped up, 2 to the head. And Dexter's left alone. How have they done this? How on earth have they done this?
Bruh, what? That is, I cannot believe Espada lose that. I cannot believe they lose that round, man. It's literally upgrades. It's not even like a half bar. It's like an eco, a light eco. Oh my goodness. Gambit youngsters. I mean, the kill from Shiro. First of all, he gets an insane kill towards top mid with that P250. Then Nafany has a great play where he just walks out of the apartments. They get a 4-on-2. Dima then gets double headshotted by a Glock from Sandwich. And I can't believe that how wrecked their economy is, the position that Espada are in, and allowing this comeback to come through at 13-13, that is the round that they win. And now look at the buy from Espada. They say, well, we have to force.
I mean, they don't have a choice. I mean, it's either that or save to OT. And even then, I don't even know if the money line lines up because they haven't got any loss bonus.
I can't believe they lost to Glocks basically.
They did. That's the thing, right? You know, they had a P250 which got a kill. The Glocks got most of the damage.
That is so rare. Like, you do not see that. I really feel for the Espada guys. Damn, that's harsh. Very harsh indeed. And the Battle of the Orpers. Not actually too many AWP kills going either way. Just because we haven't really seen too much T-side AWPing from either side.
Won't see any for this round. T-side scouting, maybe, if you're a Dexter, but that's probably not going to be much of anything here. Again, this force buy from Espada is just so difficult to work with. So difficult to try and make this round come out for them. The 4 rifles out for the Gambit youngsters side. They've got mid control. They're spread out towards the apartments and underpass, trying to look for the opening kill here.
And more broken than the wall on Inferno. I mean, Espada, this is a very difficult round to win indeed. And honestly, it comes down to whether they find an opening pick. They need to try, and at least with some of these weapons, get some engagements in close quarters.
"60 seconds left. Smoke standing by here for the T side, putting them out towards the A side where they smoke down also in the mid position. Shiro, all ready and waiting. A good flash from the CT players will blind them off, so they get that much out of this at least. And again, Gambit youngsters are taking their time with this one. They will make their way on toward the short position, but Patsy catching off one, Dima gets another. And again, they're going to let the timer run low, allow Espada to swing in and get every single kill. Completely untraded. Gambit youngsters, what's going on?
What's going on in this map? I mean, now we've got the fact where it really should have been quite a simple 15th round to go in the way of Gambit youngsters, and now they're the ones that are on the 4 spot. Unfortunately for Espada, they don't pick up any of those AKs.
Why do they constantly do this?
It's just, this is so confusing. Like,
It's
this
not
is so back and forward.
It isn't the first time as well
my
that Gambit
goodness.
youngsters have, you know, run the clock really low, then gone a bit passive-aggressive in the last 30 seconds just to lose all semblance of control. They do find an opening pick on the AWP battle at the very least. But Sotfik has the other AWP in play.
B's relatively open. I mean, look where Patsy is. Patsy's pushing short.
This is the real chance for Gambit youngsters. They can't mess around with this. They need to execute confidently, make their way out the apartments, check out every single corner. They will realize as a result of this that there is nobody there. They're flashing against Patsy the Deagle. Try and check the position. It's AWP of Shiro. That drops him. So 5-on-3 situation. Eventually as the post-plant starts to come in, and they're going to save because they have no choice. That's the Gambit youngsters we need to see more of here, right? They can't play these, like, you know, sort of passive-aggressive, not really going for anything until the last moment default that just goes ahead and falls apart anyway. Else we're going to be in another overtime here, Dwayne.
I mean, that's a great round to win. Sure, obviously finding 2 fantastic picks. But there really wasn't too much to work with in this round. They had an AWP and an AK, and that was it. They had a MAC-10 and a couple of pistols out for both Axel and Nafani. 15-14. And I'll tell you what, both these teams have done very well on some of these Half-Life Force-Buy rounds. But yeah, look, I mean, you're right. I mean, it's very awkward to sometimes see some of these slow defaults coming out from the youngsters, but it's just what we see from them. It's just their style of play. It's just the Counter-Strike that they play. And sometimes it's frustrating, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. 15-14. One more round is needed for Gambit youngsters to be able to take this first map and move over to Overpass, unless Espada have got anything to say about it.
Well, Force Buy will see all the rifles out for every single player. Yes, they're not M4s on Sotfik and Patsy. And look at Gambit youngsters back to the passiveness. I'm already not going to like where this round is going to go here. If they continue this, Espada are going to be able to edge out an advantage eventually. And they're going to be playing so carefully around this Supra. Not even facing anything. He's just looking at the wall at the moment, playing anti-flash, I feel like, expecting aggression from the CTs. Nothing will come of it.
Yeah, that's the thing, is Gambit youngsters are trying to see if they can find some sort of advantage off the back of Espada making a mistake, and that comes off the back of some aggression, which isn't going to come out on the City side. Double players in con. And finally, we should probably see Gambit youngsters trying to take some top mid control. But you look at the map presence they've got at the moment. We're getting closer to a minute on the clock, and there literally is none. They've got no one in Palace. They've got a couple of players outside of A main, and 3 players up towards top mid. They're going to fake themselves a bomb site take, and then finally try and take some mid control.
4 players have been drawn over to the A site for 45 seconds. Again, they're going to let this run so low. AK's moving in from us around the corner. Super's going to disappear through that smoke. Blind spray does damage. Almost taps up the AWP. Turns his attention to Nafany. And Nafany takes him down. Super against Dima. 5 on 3. Finally, the execution coming out, but it's stalled by Patsy. 2 picks. Traded back by Inters. Finnegan's on site now. M4 standing in the way of the hit, but Dexter goes forward into the backstab. So it's all to Finnegan now. 1 on 3. Nafany swings and gets the 3K. And gets the 16 for Gambit Youngsters. Fortunately, they are repeating themselves, and they get the first map.
And I'll tell you what, look, that's a great result coming out from Gambit Youngsters in the end, but we've still got more of the series to come. Overpass is going to be the next map of the series. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this short break.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool.